It's been nearly 8 years since Breath of the Wild first released, spearheading a new era for the Zelda franchise and bringing it back into the uppermost echelons of the gaming industry. Not since Ocarina of Time had a Zelda game received such universal praise, and it proved to be an instant classic, a game that would be the inspiration for future heavy hitters in the industry, including Elden Ring. 6 years later, the game's sequel, Tears of the Kingdom, released to unimaginable levels of hype and expectation. For many, Tears of the Kingdom took what Breath of the Wild achieved and made every element bigger and better, from the world to the gameplay and to the story. One of the main discussion points that I remember hearing at the time was whether Tears of the Kingdom now made Breath of the Wild slightly redundant. A lot of commentators felt that Ultra Hand and Fuse were such innovative and incredible gameplay mechanics that Breath of the Wild would be boring to play. Coupled with Sen's corner cutting and Recall's ability to fix mistakes, the gameplay loop of Breath of the Wild was being looked at in a very different way. I remember watching a video at the time by Slightly In-Depth Gaming titled "There is no reason to play Breath of the Wild in 2023", which talked about the elements I've already highlighted and more. If today's video title doesn't already give it away, I didn't agree with this way of thinking and still don't. And in this video, I want to tell you why I feel that there's never been a better time to jump back into Breath of the Wild. Welcome back to the Zelda Realm YouTube channel. My name is Joe and it's so great to have you join me. If you enjoyed today's video, could I ask you just one tiny little favour, okay? I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers and I would really love if you could join me and help me achieve that goal. And I'm going to announce that when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be recording and releasing my retrospective of Tears of the Kingdom, which will be the longest video I'll ever produce and will be the most in-depth. So if you're looking forward to that, make sure to subscribe and join for the journey. But for now, let's go back to Breath of the Wild. I think there's no question that here and now in 2025, The Legend of Zelda is a gaming series that has changed massively in the last 10 years. And in that time I feel we've seen a community that has never been more divided in opinion. Personally, I'm a huge advocate for differing opinions as long as they are treated with respect. I really enjoy gaining different perspectives from those who have a different opinion to me, and so while I disagreed with the video I referenced earlier, I could understand where that sentiment and feeling was present. When Breath of the Wild released in 2017, there was no doubting that it was one of Nintendo's most ambitious first-party titles, but it was a divisive game that split the opinions of Zelda's most dedicated fanbase. I think regardless of your stance on the game, it was obvious that objectively it was a masterpiece. I mean, there's a reason that Rolling Stone have just named it the greatest game of all time. But understandably, many purists were disappointed by the game's structure, with traditional dungeons scrapped, replaced by 120 mini-dungeons or shrines, and 4 large puzzle rooms, I like to call them, or divine beasts, and a total lack of many key features that had previously defined the franchise. And when I first picked up the game, I was in this camp. In the first 3 to 4 hours or so of my first playthrough, I felt disappointed and flat, but I stuck with it as Zelda has always been my favourite gaming franchise. Then, without me realising, Breath of the Wild stuck its hooks into me and I was fully bought in. Never before had a game captured my attention so much. At the time, I was a university student, enjoying the benefits of more free time in my day-to-day life, and I found myself playing Breath of the Wild for 4+ hours at a time, without realising how much time had passed. Every single corner had something to do, and I lost count of the number of times I had intentions of going to a specific location, only to be distracted by 3 or 4 different places of interest on the way. Breath of the Wild's Hyrule is a world that is beautifully tragic and hurting, boasting so much variety and different levels of life despite the impending doom coming its way. It's really for this reason alone that I would recommend every Zelda fan to go and do a fresh run of Breath of the Wild. One of the elements that I feel was massively forgotten upon Tears of the Kingdom's release was the magic and feeling of Breath of the Wild. I've seen many people say that Tears of the Kingdom is objectively a better game than Breath of the Wild, pointing to the dungeons, gameplay mechanics, and story all being bigger and better. But I felt that while all of these things might be true, there was a certain level of magic that Tears of the Kingdom could not recreate. Trust me when I say that going back to the Breath of the Wild helped me recapture that magic again. There is something about the simplicity of the game that adds to that feeling, and with a very easy story to follow, one that, while not told in a way that pleases everyone, feels like is being supported by every action you complete. If that's not enough to tempt you back in 2025, surely this will. Just 4 days ago, Nintendo finally revealed the Switch 2, which will bring huge hardware upgrades to the Switch and improve the capabilities of the hardware to run games at higher resolutions and better frame rates. Whilst we do not yet know what the launch titles for the Switch 2 will be, there have previously been leaks and rumours to suggest that the first Zelda title to release on Nintendo's new console will be the same one that began the Switch era for Zelda, Breath of the Wild. There are rumours that Nintendo are looking to bring Breath of the Wild Remastered to Switch 2, running at 4K and 60 frames per second. As of recording, we do not yet know how much this will cost, and whether it will be a fully separate title or a buyable upgrade for those who already own the game. It was already a miracle that Breath of the Wild even ran on Switch in the first place, especially with the ability to play on the go undocked. Nintendo have always been the masters at producing games that beggar belief, and while they've always been behind the graphical fidelity of PlayStation and Xbox, this has never been a disadvantage. A 4K remaster for Breath of the Wild will breathe new life to the title, with 60 frames per second being a game changer for the feeling of playing. It would represent the definitive way to play, and then there truly would be no need to play the original ever again. In the future, I plan to do a full deep dive into Breath of the Wild, giving my full feelings and views on the game. But for now, let me leave you with this. There are some games that are truly generational, and for gamers define huge parts of their gaming life. Immediate titles that come to mind are GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, Ocarina of Time, The Last of Us and Skyrim. Undoubtedly for me, Breath of the Wild is one of those games, but Tears of the Kingdom isn't. And there's one very simple reason. Breath of the Wild did it first. This was a new Hyrule for us, where no matter where we went, it was new, with a never-ending feeling of wonder and awe in every area and location to explore. It was that feeling that was never recreated for me in Tears of the Kingdom. In so many moments, I felt slightly underwhelmed by places I had been to before, and the magic just wasn't there. So if you're on the fence, and you haven't played Breath of the Wild since Tears of the Kingdom released, then do yourself a favour and commit to a fresh playthrough of what I believe is Link's greatest adventure since Ocarina of Time. Take the time to enjoy a Hyrule with less contradictions and a simpler gameplay loop, master the art of parrying guardians so you never have to avoid them, and challenge yourself to try and find something new, because trust me, you will. I say all this with confidence, as I myself am halfway through a fresh playthrough started this year, and I am feeling that sense of wonder and magic once again. I don't think there's a better feeling in gaming than losing yourself to an immersive and in-depth experience, and I feel that Breath of the Wild is the very best at achieving these feelings. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that there has been something here that resonates with you. Equally, you may be in the opposite end from me and have these same feelings about Tears of the Kingdom. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And with 2025 promising so much excitement, with the Switch 2 and more, there's loads for us to look forward to this year. On screen now is another Zelda video for you to enjoy, and until next time, I've been the Zelda Realm, and I'll see you soon.